So EA Sports just dropped a patch today. It is by far and away the biggest patch of the year. It is a seven, I think seven, eight, maybe nine even gigabyte patch. It's a big patch, and they tried to address some of the most broken things about the game. That being said, I will say that they, at least so far, kind of accomplished that while not necessarily like removing some of the core mechanics of how the game was made and meant to be played. And so we're going to be diving into everything that you need to know about Madden 26 post patch in this little breakdown. One of the things I did want to also say is if you're looking to get better at Madden, if you're looking to get better at college football, I would really encourage you to sign up for our school community. Our school community is only $10 a month for both Madden and for college football, and it gets you access to every single thing that I know about Madden and college football as soon as I know the information. My members have consistently been able to win more games and make more runs in tournaments and all of that stuff. So if you're looking to get better at the game, we break the game down in extreme detail in our school community. That being said, a lot of good things came from this change. Before we get into the most important things, I do want to make a quick tip here in the beginning. Make sure that this blocking right here, make sure that this auto pass protection, make sure this on base. Most important thing that I could tell you. And let's go ahead and get into these updates. One of the reasons that a lot of people haven't really been in 146 or dollar, especially kind of as the year evolved within the first major tournament of the year, is really due to the way that yellow zones played in this game. If you guys didn't know, one of the worst things about yellow zones in this game is that a vert hook would randomly match kind of whatever was on the field. Even if you tried to set zone drops, even if you, even if you, shaded or whatever, yellow zones were really just terrible. And the only real good yellow zone was a hook curl. But I think now that is said to have been patched. So we're going to go ahead and go into like a bunch X nasty type of situation where we can actually have some meta stuff. And we're going to go over that and kind of see what this looks like. So again, if we're just going to come out here in the dollar defense, which would be like this cover three buzz match, for example, I'm going to show you my coach adjustments real quick here, just so that you can see that I don't have any zone drop set. And we're going to just kind of see how this works. So first and foremost, the way a vert hook should play, in my opinion, is it's a match concept out of like a cover two. So if I have a soft squat over here or something like this, I could see this vert hook matching vertically if I don't shade him any which way or whatever. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to run a streak, a corner, and then we're going to, it's technically a wheel, but it's going to basically be like a flat. And I just want to see, first and foremost, what this vert hook does. So as you can see here, he matches the vertical streak, which is exactly what I thought he should do in that situation, because I didn't shade him any direction. And also, I had a soft squat on the field, and also they didn't have like a zig or anything. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same exact adjustments. We're not going to shade anything, but I just want to see how this vert hook does at defending like a zig route from the tight end, for example. So we're just going to do a zig route to the tight end. We're going to do a flat route on this outside guy. And then with this slot receiver, we can pretty much do, whatever. We'll put him on basically put him on like a drag or something, just to kind of keep it as a short yardage combo. And what you're going to see here from this vert hook is he actually plays that tight end really, really well, right? He actually plays that tight end really, 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 really well. And I didn't shade it whatsoever. Now, another combo that is pretty popular, I'm going to go over to Y off trio close for this one. And it would be something like this, basically streak like this, essentially. And what would happen before is the vert hook would basically just leave the drag wide open if it wasn't a hook curl. So we'll just see kind of how the vert hook plays here. And you see here, he does still match. Basically, both yellow zones match, which is kind of odd. But in general, the vert hooks do seem significantly better post-patch. And then one last thing that I did want to go over here is the shading aspect of everything. So like if I were to shade this coverage underneath, I just want to see how this yellow zone would play in that same situation against that same basic idea. And then we'll talk a little bit about smash return as well. So if we were to, give this combination, same exact one where he actually, the yellow zones, both of them matched. Now what we should see is the shade down should prevent the matching, and they should play logically. And as you see, they do a really good job. And the other thing that's really cool about that is the shade down basically keeps those hooks at about 5 yards. So you don't even really need to set zone drops anymore, in my opinion, to get your hooks to play where you want them to play. Now, the other thing that I thought was really, really big about this is The other thing about this would be like a smash return type of combo. So we did need to cover that real quick. So the thing with smash return is these little return routes would get in such a good soft spot of the zone. And again, here we're just going to do something like this. And we're going to see how this vert hook does at defending this return route. And as you see, he actually goes way too far outside, which is crazy. So then that tells me that, we might need to go ahead and shade the vert hook inside and underneath to get it to play a little bit better against a return route. For example, that table route really got played by that yellow, which I did not like at all. That's not what you would want to see. You want to see that vert hook play the return route. So you see here by shading inside, he still leaves that up. So there's still some issues with yellow zones. I will say that right now, but they are better. Okay, they are better, but there are some significant issues that were not addressed with the yellow zones in this update. This is the dollar defense post patch in Madden 26. And one of the most important things from a personnel perspective is going to be making sure that you have safeties in these linebacker positions right here. That is like super important. So I'm just going to put corners at these safety positions. And then I'm just going to put my safeties here. We'll go Dean and Makuba. Or I'm sorry, not Dean, Makuba and Blankenship. And then for your coach adjustments, auto flip off, defensive motion response disabled, option read key conservative, pitch key aggressive, read key and pass key conservative. You don't need to really put your hooks on 5 anymore, just by shading down. That's all you need. And then close and pinch. All right. So then we're going to come out in this play, cover 3 buzz match. And what we're going to do is we're going to slant our defensive line to the right. We're going to QB contain. You can feel free to re-blitz these guys if you want to, but we're just going to keep it contained here. And we're going to kind of like hover in this general area, and we're going to run to the outside. By running to the outside, what that's going to do is it's going to pull this guard to the outside. I am in base protection, which is going to be probably the highly meta pass protection, in my opinion, is going to be this base protection. Reason being is because you can now set your protection in your coach adjustments. And this was a really good blitz against empty protection anyway, but the main pass protection that I wanted to show it against was base. And then you can kind of, create your coverage however you want to. Vert hooks are really good, especially shaded down vert hooks are pretty good at this point. And if you stand out here, this is like the best way, because you'll see he'll really pull to that side. And then now it's really just a matter of whether or not that center makes like the play of his career or not. This blitz is a pretty good little send 4. Send 4, I think, is still the best way to be playing defense in this game post patch. And this is going to now be a very viable defense as well because of the patch that they made to coverage. So this is going to be one of the better defenses, in my opinion, post patch. If he loops a little bit better, he would have come in. And this is the dollar defense, right? Obviously, you could run the B-gap version of this as well, where you move the guy over. That's still an option. But in general, I personally just prefer cover 3 buzz match. You can also do this out of strong safety zone blitz. Same exact setup. You're just going to slant to the right, QB contain. And in this case, we would zone out this slot corner. Let me see if I can really kind of pull this guard to the side here. And there you see the pressure be able to come in against base protection in game. One of the biggest issues in Madden 26 up until this point was quarterback contains. And we're going to be taking a look at how EA basically made contains a little bit better, and also showing the dollar defense post patch a little bit here. So first and foremost, we'll just do kind of standard adjustments here. And we will find, where's that cover 3 buzz? If I have it, hopefully I do, cover 3 buzz match. Perfect. And you're going to see here, we're just going to QB contain, right? One other thing real quick, just want to see this. You see here that they did not patch the contain resetting your assignment. For example, like if I put my user in a hard flat and then I QB contain, you see, actually, oh, maybe they did. Never mind. I thought I did. I thought I put my user in a blitz and it didn't do anything. But anyway, what I want to do is just go over these contains. So essentially, all we're going to do here is we're going to first just try to run a standard, roll out play like this, roll it to the right side, and you'll see here that I'm still able to get out of the pocket, okay? But it's not as broken where the defensive end, what was happening in the previous rendition of this game is the defensive end would literally go inside to the point that it would just be insane. So we'll try that one more time. Also, the air truck pretty much has been, for the most part, from what I've seen, taken out. But what you were able to do before is you were able to basically just truck with your quarterback. So I'll show that real quick. So just truck with my quarterback. You see, he still is not able to get out of that contain. And, that's okay-ish. It's okay-ish. Not exactly where you'd want it, honestly, in terms of a contain actually disengaging. What we'll do now is we'll try no contain and just see how this does without any contain whatsoever. And I just have base protection on, as that is, pretty much the standard way to block. And you see here that this is, pretty easy to still get outside of. That was way too easy for me, in my opinion, for what I would want. So definitely what I would say is you definitely still want to contain. If you don't contain, it's extremely easy to be able to roll out here. But you see here on a contain, at least he breaks off, at least he disengages, at least he goes to him, and then obviously it becomes a battle of the user at that point. But in general, contains are better. I don't know that they're necessarily great, but they are better from where they were before the patch was dropped. Dom 146 post patch could potentially be one of the better ways to be playing defense, given the fact that contains are a little bit better. They also, you're going to see a little bit more of a standard pass protection meta, which is going to be that auto pass protection set to base. A lot of people are going to be either in base protection or empty protection, and I believe that this defense is going to be decent against both of those things. I'm also going to give you a cool tip that I think does significantly help the 146 just in terms of a level of consistency, just a little kind of nuanced thing. So from a coaching adjustment perspective, auto flip off, defense motion response disabled, conservative, aggressive, conservative, conservative. You can do whatever you want down here, but I do recommend close and pinch, especially in dollar and 146 type formations. The other thing is you do want to have safeties in these two spots. And for the most part, the two plays you're going to be using is going to be either the cross 3 fire or the Tampa 2. But for this video, I just wanted to for this breakdown, I just wanted to primarily focus in on the crossfire. And the big tip that I want to give you is when we turn auto flip off, the best crossfire blitz angle is actually the blitzer on the yellow zone side. So the safety that's in the yellow zone, that actually has a better blitz angle than the other side. So what you're going to do is you're going to loop with this side basically every single time. So what I would do, is set up my coverage however you want to set up your coverage, right? Not a big deal. Set up however, you don't even really need to hover any particular way, to be honest. But basically, I'm just going to put my controller down, snap this ball, and you're going to see that this B-gap looper does a really good job of being able to get pressure at the quarterback. Another thing that you're going to be able to see here is, let's say that I wanted to give, maybe I wanted to send it off of the other side for whatever reason. If I know I want to send it off of the other side, what I want you to do is I want you to flip the play. Specifically, I want you to flip the play at the play call screen. So I'm going to flip the play just like this, and now I'm going to send it from left to right. So again, first step is pinch D-line, then contain, and then you're basically good to do whatever, right? The blitz is pretty much set up, and then you can adjust your coverage however you see fit. Again, I'm not going to touch my user, and you're going to see that this is going to loop really consistently from left to right as well, because we're using the better of the two blitz angles within the cross 3 fire play itself, which is really, really significant. This is a very difficult blitz to pick up post-patch, in my opinion. They're going to have to do some sliding. They're going to have to block a running back, do some things. This becomes, I think, one of the better send fours in the game, especially given the fact that contains are significantly better post-patch than they were pre-patch. So that is the B-gap variation of the Dime 146. This video is going to serve as a public service announcement tip for the latest patch for Madden 26. As you can see here, I'm just going to come out in a basic, just like whatever, just a simple, random passing play. And what you're going to notice here is that if I show my play art, you're going to see that my offensive line is automatically slid to a specific side, depending on really basically whatever the game tells them to do. And so what I would encourage you to do, and this is going to literally make your blocking 1,000 times better and 1,000 times more consistent, is in your coaching adjustments now in this game, you can actually go down in the bottom here and you can have this automatic pass protection, and you can actually set any of them that you want. So my recommendation is to set your automatic pass protection to base. And what you're going to see here is now, if I come out in that same basic idea, which I think it was this play action Y wheel, you're going to see that my protection is set to base, and it's going to make it significantly better in terms of its ability to be able to block whatever they are doing from a defensive perspective. One of the most consistent defenses post-patch of Madden 26 is the nickel 3-3 odd, and I'm going to be going over how to use it right here. So for coach adjustments, what you're going to do is you're going to turn auto flip off. This is really important for the blitz. It's going to make the blitz a little bit more consistent. It's going to give you a little bit more consistency as well within your coverage in terms of what you're able to do and not do. The other thing here is I like defensive motion response disabled. That's just because I play zone. I kind of base out of zone. I really hate man coverage just in general. So I like to basically try to play defense out of zone. That's why I put disabled here. I just don't want it to mess with it. Conservative, aggressive, conservative, conservative. And then at the bottom here, you're going to have close and pinch for your safety depth. Now, the other big tip for this defense is to use the defensive end swap package. That is going to make it so that you get better adjustments, more proper adjustments for the linebackers and D-line. The other thing here is that I'm subbing out and subbing back in everybody. I already did that. And then I also have safeties at linebacker. Okay. Now, as far as the defense goes, you see here at the screen, I have a cover 2 shell equipped. That is really important for this. And because you're going to be in this hot blitz bail, if you don't have that shell, the safeties will they'll just be lined up really bad. Okay. So use hot blitz bail, use the cover two shell. And all you're going to do to set it up is you're just going to show blitz your linebackers. You're done basically. If you want to send 6, you could send 6 just like this. But what I like to do is send 4. Now, if you want to, you can also spread your D-line. If you want to spread your D-line like this as well, you'll see that you're going to get really clean edge pressure off of the edge pretty consistently. Now, that was a base pass protection. What I'm going to do right here is reset this down to empty pass protection because those are really the 2 most popular pass protections you're going to get. And then the other thing that I want to show you is you can also zone out the defensive end on the left side, which we'll get to in just a minute. But you'll see this pressure still very clean against the empty protection mechanic as well. So I thought that was pretty significant to go ahead and show that against the 2 best protections in the game, if they send 5 out and you send 4, you're going to get pressure. That was the send 5. Here's the send 4. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this guy, put him in whatever coverage we want. Here I'm just going to man him up to the running back. And then we're going to, kind of set the defense up. And what you're going to see is you're still going to send 4 and you're still going to get really clean pressure against a blocked running back. So 3-5 odd to me, really good just because it forces them to have to block, which is really difficult to do out of defenses in this game. But forcing them to not be able to 5 out to me is a significant advantage. And so that is the 3-5 odd, send 4 and send 5. One of the more important things with this game in terms of defense on the defensive side of the ball is the ability and capability to send 2 people at the quarterback to essentially, try to make your contain better, make your coverage a little bit better in a game where it's really difficult to blitz right now. This is a super, super relevant thing. So we're going to see if EA actually patch this or not. We're just going to come out in a basic dime set. I'm going to come out and play with 5 out. And we do have the pass protection set on base, which is kind of the base way to protect. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to run a send 2 out of Tampa 2. And all we're going to do is we're just going to spy this defender here. We're going to flat this defender here. And then we're going to kind of create like a cover 3 cloud type of look, maybe, if I can actually put this guy in this right zone. But you see, this is what we're going to do. And then let me actually double check, make sure my adjustments are what I want. And there you go. So you see, we're just sending 2 people. I'm not blitzing my user. I'm not mugging the gap whatsoever. And we're just going to see how long it takes for this to come in. And as you can see there, he pretty much instantly wins and he's able to come in at the quarterback. What this simply communicates, in my opinion, is that sending 2, sending 3 is still a very, very viable option in this year's game, even after the patch. 45 over G is one of the better ways to get a consistent send 4 type pressure in this game. And I'm going to be going over how to do that. So what you want to do for coach adjustments is you want to have auto flip on. Defensive motion response can be left to default or disabled, up to you. Option read key conservative, aggressive, conservative, conservative, and then safeties are going to be on close and pinch. So 45 over G, also known as BNOG, is a lot better this year. One of the biggest things you want to do is you want to have your slot cornerback package on. Another big thing that I like to do in this formation is put safeties at the linebacker position. It's just going to make it a little bit better in terms of how the blitz is going to come in. And then when you open up your play menu, you're going to put your shell on cover 2. Then you are going to go over to the play LB Blitz. And all you're going to do is you're just going to come out, you're going to show blitz, your linebackers, and that's pretty much it. The blitz is basically set up. And what you want to do here is you want to send the blitz off of the defensive tackle that is more spread out. So as you see here, this defensive tackle is wider than this defensive tackle. And then we're just going to kind of user this linebacker. You could take the defensive end or defensive tackle and drop them into coverage. So you're only technically sending 4 people. And what you're going to see is you're going to be able to get this pressure off of the right side. Now, as you saw right there, the tight end in this game, he chips significantly, like a lot. What you can do is when you come out in this play, simply shift your defensive line to the other side. So as you see here, we just shifted them to the other side here. What that does is it allows me to send the pressure off of the running back side like this. And you're going to see that we're going to get quick defensive end type pressure off the running back side off of a 7-4. What's nice about this is this forces some type of blocked running back consistently within this blitz. And I'll show it to you again. They pretty much have to block their running back. That is the biggest thing in this game. You could also, if you wanted to, spread your D line like this, and you could kind of try to like hide who you're using on. But a lot of times you see sometimes that can make the blitz a little bit worse, especially that defensive end type pressure. So what I would rather do is just guarantee my pressure. And I think the best way to do that is, and I'll show it to you one more time here, would be to shift the defensive line away from the tight end. So shift the defensive line away from the tight end, show blitz your linebackers, and then I would kind of use her in this gap. You could also realistically use her like right in here. But basically, as you can see, it creates a really, really clean type of send 4 or send 5 type of pressure with good contain. A great way to blitz in this game. That is the 4-2-5 over G, and that is post-patch edition of how to actually run the blitz. One of the best kept secrets of the Dime 146 is it doesn't only have a B gap loop blitz, it actually has the ability to A gap loop blitz, and I'm going to show you how to do it here. This is a post patch blitz, and I do have base protection equipped for the offensive line. The reason why is because that's going to be kind of the standard protection I think you're going to see going forward. For the most part, a lot of people are going to be in that base protection to kind of as a general catch-all, right? So for coach adjustments here, this is really important, especially for this one. You want to make sure this is off. Autoflip has to be off for this. Defensive motion response disabled, conservative, aggressive, conservative. That's my option stuff. And then close and pinch are safety depth and width. Put safeties at linebacker. That's also really important. And then here's the deal. What I think works the best with this is flipping the formation. It's going to be Tampa 2. We're going to flip it like this. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to slant your line to the right. And what you're going to see here is when you slant your line to the right, you're going to get this A-gap loop blitz angle just like this. You're going to QB contain. And then I'm not going to do anything with my user. I'm just going to stand over here. But what I want you to see is this can create a crazy like pressure, right? It's not always going to loop. Sometimes it does that right there, which is crazy. But that right there is like, it's a really kind of unique defense, in my opinion. Now, what I'm going to do is, it's not going to do that every single time. But sometimes that defensive tackle disengages like that. Sometimes this linebacker actually loops over the center like that right there. If you get that where he's actually going to loop, the big point of emphasis for you as a user would be to take your user here and run him outside, like run him out to the outside here like this. And a lot of times this can actually loop over the middle and get some crazy pressure. There it didn't. And then I wanted to show you one other thing. So one thing people do is they'll change their pass protection to empty because that'll be a little bit better against B gap type of loops, but it's actually worse against A gap type of loops. So because we have an A gap type of loop here, we have a chance for this to be way better. As you see right there, he's able to come in against the empty protection. So something that gives you a little bit more versatility within your 1-4-6 defense would be this A-gap variation out of a Tampa 2. Again, I really, really suggest that you flip it. I think it's way more consistent right to left than left to right this year when you're specifically running that A-gap loop. The B-gap loop we showed from Crossfire, you can run from either side, but this gives you something to counter them with when they start to adjust to your B-gap pressure. The Texas four-man stunt has been the best stunt in the game, and we're going to be going over it in this little breakdown post-patch. First and foremost, I just want to show you auto pass protection is set to base. The reason being is this is going to be the meta. You're either going to see it's going to be empty or base if you're playing someone that knows what they're doing. If they don't know what they're doing, then you're probably going to beat them anyway. And if they're doing just a bunch of random pass protection. So we're going to be going over the main ones that you're going to see, which are going to be base pass protection. You might see empty, but in general, base pass protection to me is what you're going to see. So what I wanted to do is show this out of just the basic 3-3 single mug, as this was considered the best stunning formation pre-patch in Madden 26. It's actually technically the single mug out of Houston, but this one is just fine as well. Now, what we're going to do is nothing really, you don't really need to do anything for coach adjustments. Like there's really nothing. If you want to put this on close and pinch, you can. And then if you want to set up your read keys, you can do that. I normally go conservative, aggressive, conservative, conservative. And then we're going to use Tampa 2. We're going to hold down the button. We're going to select the Texas four-man. And the best way to set this up is to spread lines, spread linebackers, just like this. And you're going to see here, we're just going to not do really anything. And you're going to see that the Texas four-man stunt is still really good, right? It's still good. I would say it does seem a little bit different. I don't know exactly like what the legitimate, consistent differences are. We'll run it a couple more times here so you can kind of get a good sample size. But in general, I do think this defense is still really, really good. And then we'll just kind of run the engage here and kind of come out with our user. And you see there's that Texas four-man. And you see it's screaming in off of the edge. And then as far as like a contain, let's say you want to like contain a mobile quarterback, what you can do is you can call the Texas to the opposite side of their throwing hand. So in this case, it would be the left Texas two-man that we'll call. We'll spread our D-line, spread our linebackers, and then we'll QB contain the other side. So you have a contain on that side, and then you have the Texas stunt on the left side. And you see that that's going to do, it's not going to be as consistent from a pressure perspective, but it's going to do a much better job of being able to keep the opponent in the pocket. And these Texas stunts are just so good at the end of the day. They are really, really, really good. And then for the last clip here, I just want to show this same exact stunt. But what we're going to do is we're going to send this against empty protection. Just in case, you wanted to see it against empty. It's about the same. I would say, overall, you're going to see more base protection than empty protection if you're playing a good player. But in general, this stun is still really good. I would say it does appear that they've done a little tuning to this, but overall, it does seem to still be a really, really good way to get pressure in this game. This is a 3-3 double mug defense post-patch in Madden 26. Want to take a look at this. And for coach adjustments, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go on here. You're going to go default here. Conservative, aggressive, conservative, conservative. You're going to come down here and put close and pinch. And then you're going to be in 3-3 double mug. Now, what my recommendation would be is these defensive tackles right here, go ahead and sub in like faster players. It's just going to make the defense significantly better. And then the other thing that you want to do is you want to sub in 2 safeties at these linebacker spots. Again, it's just going to make the defense better. And then you want your fastest guys possible on the outside here. So I'm going to put Jihad Campbell there. And what you're basically going to do is set your shell here when you get into a cover 2. You could pretty much do this out of every single play in the formation, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to first just show you the Texas four-man stunt. So what you want to do to set this up is spread your linebackers, spread your D-line. Typically, you're going to use this guy like this. And if you're sending the stunt, you're just going to roll out. And you see that this stunt is still really good in Madden 26. Now, just quick PSA, I'm using base pass protection just because that's the standard pass protection that you're going to see a lot of people in. Empty's not going to necessarily be a ton better. It's a little better against stunts, but it's not a ton better by any means. So that's the Texas four-man stunt. The other thing that you can do out of this double mug defense is you can leave the linebackers mugged up like this if you wanted to. And what'll happen a lot of times is your defensive line can actually come in off the edge. We didn't do a good job of that right there, but just sending the basic four-man rush is another option that you have within this defense. And then another option that you have within this defense is to, situationally come out in a mid blitz or really any play with the linebackers blitzing. So mid blitz, nickel dog 3, nickel dog meg, any of those plays, you can all kinds of things you can do from a coverage perspective. But what you can do from a pressure perspective here, I'll just show it out of mid blitz, is you're just going to spread the linebackers, spread the D line, the blitz is set up, and then if you want to zone out the DN off the backside, you could do that as well. And then you're going to hit up on the D pad, bring up the substitution menu, hold down on the left stick, hit the center. Once your guy goes through, you're going to hit X to disengage, and that is going to be a really clean way to get a consistent send four off of that's going to come in consistently if they send the running back out on a route. And then one other thing that I wanted to talk about just real quickly here that is a good tactic, in my opinion, when running this defense is to run the Texas stunt, but to run only the left Texas two men or right Texas two men. That's going to be dependent on the quarterback's throwing hand. For right hand quarterbacks, you run left. For left hand quarterbacks, you want to right. And then just contain like this. And what you're going to see is you can still get pressure just sending the two man, and you're still going to have good contain to keep the quarterback in the pocket. One of the biggest changes in Madden 26, the latest patch, is how corner routes are going to run against zone coverage now. And really specifically, one of the biggest changes being route stemming. So if you take a look here, I'm just going to show you, kind of a standard combination, as you can see here, and then we're going to use route stemming to make this better. So one of the ways you can do that is you're going to stem this corner route all the way down. But you see here that when you stem it all the way down, it's going to run 3 yards. It used to only run 1. The problem with that is you're going to see that it's going to take this receiver longer to be able to get to the sideline. So when I try to throw this against a curl flat and a quarter, then you're going to see that outside quarter can actually break on the ball and actually play it because the corner route is running at a little bit of a different depth, which is pretty significant, right? Now, this is not just true for corner routes. This is pretty much true for any route with a route stem. So, for example, let's say, that I wanted to run a combination like this, for example, and I wanted to use a stem down post on the right side. If I stem this post down, you're going to see that it's going to still have about a 3-yard cut to it. And so while this is still going to be somewhat okay as far as beating the defense, you can see that it just takes the overarching like route stem ability feature significantly down in terms of its capabilities to actually be significant. So another situation here would be like a stem down tight end corner. You'll see here that this is not as low. It's not as sharp. It's not as short. And so you'll see that this runs more like a true corner route than like what we would have considered a almost slant out in the previous variation of the game. Now I'm going to show this same thing, same principle here, but I want to just show it from a short corner that you can use. We'll go over it with doubles flex. We have this flood H post. If I can find the play here, there it is. So you see that this sharp corner, this was a big problem pre-patch. And when you would stem this down, you see that it basically would run like a slant out. But now you see there's a little bit more of a depth to it. And you'll see here that this is a harder throw. It's a much, much more difficult throw now against your standard dollar type of look here. You're going to have a little bit more of I think, difficulty throwing this. Can you still throw it? Maybe. But the window is significantly a lot tighter against standard cover 4 coverages. And then against like a standard 4 cover 4 hard flat or something like that, I'll show you that real quick. You see that hard flat is bumping him. You see what I'm saying? It's not as good as it used to be. Definitely a meta changing type of patch here, just in terms of this was really one of the main ways that people attacked both man and zone coverage. And so now these stem down corners are definitely not as good. They're still good, but they're not as good as they were before the patch. This is another way to loop out of dollar that I do think might potentially be making a little bit of a comeback. This is the walkover loop post patch, and we can do this out of a variety of different plays. The one that I'm going to be focusing on here is going to be cover 4 quarters. We'll show it to both sides. What you're going to do is you're going to turn auto flip off, defensive motion response disabled, option conservative, aggressive, conservative, conservative. Safeties are going to be close and pinch, and you're going to come out in this cover 4 quarters. Now, all you're going to do to set this up is you're going to QB contain. You're going to then take this linebacker and move him over in this general direction. And then that's pretty much all you need to do. If you want to stay on the same side, you can do that. But what you're going to see here is against base protection, it kind of pinches the guard in a little bit, which is going to be the meta protection by far and away, I believe. And so what you saw right there is you saw that linebacker can actually loop a little bit better against base protection when he has a B-gap blitz angle equipped here. So you're going to see here again, here's that B-gap blitz angle. Let me just... As far as placement goes, I think just between the guard and the tackle makes the most sense. And here we'll just kind of stand out here. We're not going to use her at all, and see how he's looping that guard pretty consistently. And that's doing a pretty decent job of being able to get pressure on the quarterback. And then I'm going to flip this whole thing and kind of show you the other direction we could go. So if we wanted to flip the play and run it from right to left, then kind of same thing applies. You're just going to QB contain, move this guy over here now, and basically you'll see same basic logic there. I will say, looks like it takes a little bit longer, and that could just be a couple of different factors, right? But that is still the same basic idea, and it does a decent job against the meta pass protection that you're going to see. And so honestly, I think we could be going into a position where you want to use like A gap loop angles against empty, B gap loop angles against base. As you see here, that was a pretty good job. He almost looped around the edge, but this is how to get those B gap type loops. I think they come back into the conversation post patch in Madden 26, and it really opens up kind of another layer of how you could potentially be playing defense going forward.